This is going to be our first introduction to some networking fundamentals, just basically some terminology. Realize that we are going to cover this in greater detail in Course 8 and actually look at the AWS console and the configuration. So first we have network interfaces, and these are basically a virtual network interface or a virtual NIC that's assigned to the instance, and by default it's ETH or Ethernet 0. Then we have the route tables, and the route tables are how the instances know where to route the traffic. Now by default, in your default VPC with the default security group, if you spin up two instances into the same subnet, in the same VPC, they'll be able to talk to each other. That's the one setting in the route table. But beyond that, you're going to have entries in the route tables to get to internet gateways, to virtual private gateways, endpoints to other services, maybe to a NAT gateway in a public subnet. In a Microsoft environment, if you have Windows servers in your subnets in your VPC, you may use DHCP option sets, and that's typically for backward compatibility with older versions of Windows that are still using things like NetBIOS for their naming convention. There's only like 4 or 5 options that you actually have access to, and that's not very many considering that the options field in the DHCP header is an 8-bit field with about 250 options in it. Internet gateways are the ways that you get out to the internet from your VPCs. DNS, of course, domain naming service. What you're most likely going to do is take advantage of AWS's Route 53 managed DNS service. But you don't have to. You can deploy your own DNS servers in your own public subnet, or you could use your own on-site DNS servers at your office, or you could use your service provider's DNS servers. A lot of companies are using something called Cisco Umbrella with their remote access clients, so you're going to be using Cisco's DNS servers in the cloud so that all of your DNS queries are encrypted and part of their cloud. It may even be a combination of Cisco Umbrella and Route 53. Elastic IPs are IP addresses that are version 4 that are routable and they're public on the internet. They're elastic because you can attach them and detach them from instances. If you terminate an instance or for some reason auto-scaling determines it to be, a problem instance, it can just attach that elastic IP address to another Linux instance, for example. Network address translation is commonly used for a wide variety of reasons. Historically, we would create what's called a NAT instance and put that into a public subnet to do our network address translation.